we talk, we laugh and joke. Okay, it's not a sellout thing. We laugh and we make it jokes. So like, oh man, Snoop Dogg from Skinny Kid back when he was 20 with gin and juice. So now he's kicking with Martha Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some people would say, oh, he sold out. No, he reached a higher level of success.
Truth is, can't nobody stop us. Truth is, can't nobody stop us.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mentality Podcast. This is your co-host Lee, Mr. Aspire to Inspire.
This is Austin Carter, aka Mr. Obsessed with anything positive, motivational, anything that's going to get you through life. So today, I'm very happy to introduce my brother. This guy right here is phenomenal. This guy that I'm about to introduce, he is the CEO of College Cash. Do your homework now. He's also lived in many places, and this gentleman that I'm about to introduce right now, his name is Demetrius. Also goes by the FinTech Ronin. How you doing, Mr. Demetrius?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here, y'all. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope I live up to that phenomenal entrance you gave me. I was listening to it like, man, who are we talking about? But no, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. And I really want to start this off. This is something we usually do, especially when we have guests. We like to start off by asking our guests, how's your mental health right now on a scale of 1 to 10?
Right now, my mental health is, I would say I can never say it's at a 10 because people irritate me every day for some reason. So I would say literally, because life. I mean, there's life. There's things that you would love to have better. And if everything was a 10 out of 10, then I should be sitting somewhere on the beach not worrying about anything. So I would say right now it's about an 8.5. Because we all have things that, we worry about, and it's in the back of our mind, be it family, friends, finances. Oh, the 3 Fs. Yeah,
Wow,
but yeah, so 8.5 out of 10.
That's a pretty good number, man. I try to keep mine around the 7 and the 8 range, but I know you got a pretty busy schedule, man. So how do you kind of combat your mentality or, your schedule with everything that you have going on?
That's why it's an 8.5 today, because I didn't have to do most of the stuff that I usually do during the week. The weather broke. We're no longer in the ice storm.
Yeah, right.
So that accounted for. But usually I'm hovering around, say, a 6 to 7, and that's with trying. So how do I account for that? Take time for you. You have to. You got to take time for you, be it in any kind of aspect it is. Take 30 minutes and play your favorite video game. Take 30 minutes, walk outside, get some air. Those are the things that are going to balance you out. Because if not, your mental, which is usually the last thing we worry about, especially as Black men and especially as founders, is our mental. Because we're trained and taught, put some dirt on it, walk it off.
Yeah, suppress it.
Are you crying? Bruh, come on. And that makes us hold everything in. So our mental is usually the last thing that we focus on.
Yeah, with that being said, Demetrius, I feel like that every day we have to strive to just be better. I want to kind of touch on who you are. Can you tell me a little bit about your background and to the point to where you were able to really get into this tech company? Because let's be honest, there are not a lot of Black CEOs, founders in tech. As the number shows, we are still the minority in that realm. Can you tell me how you got started and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And remind me to come back to the whole stats about Blacks in tech, because there's some really disturbing stats that I'm going to be happy to share that explain why there's not more of us. So a little bit about me. Born and raised in Chicago, South Side, Wild Hundreds, K-Town, the rest of those areas that people from Chicago know about. High school dropout, went to the Marine Corps. I dropped out 3 months before graduation. I needed something different, because if not, I wouldn't be here today. That self-awareness probably saved my life. My high school career, combination of family, group homes, homeless, boys' homes. So doing better was not something that I was living at that point in time. So I saw the Marines as an opportunity to go ahead and get out. If nothing else, I figured I'd get out of Chicago, get to go travel.
Right.
Served in the Marines, got out, did some other crazy, stupid things, and I can admit that because that helped get me where I was. And one day, the important part of that is somebody asked me a question, have I tried to do better? Because they asked me why I wasn't doing better in life. And my response was the traditional, the man, the system, high school dropout, I can't. And I love saying that because it stopped me from proving that wrong. So they say, okay, well, have you tried? That's a good point. No, I really hadn't. So I decided to try. Got my GED, went to college, ended up working in New York on Wall Street, worked on Madison Avenue, and worked in various other consumer and commercial banks. And so my background is actually finance, advertising. However, I've done a little bit of everything. I mean, I've been a bartender. I mean, I've been in customer service. I've danced at restaurants. They're like Joe's Crab Shacks. I can say that. Yeah. If I still have PTSD when the Cotton Eye Joe come on. So, but I mean, everything that led to this was really understanding that student loan debt was an issue, and it disproportionately affects a lot of us. There have been white papers that came out that shows that, hey, coming out of certain schools, especially HBCUs, you have higher interest rates on the same student loans that people at other schools don't.
Wow.
And so when you look at that, and then you look at the default rate, delinquency rate usually hits within the first 2 to 3 years of coming out of school. That's the time period that most people are trying to get on their feet. Yes, you got a degree in XYZ, but that entry-level job does not, it only pays you $30,000 to $45,000 a year, but you got $80,000 in student loan debt. How are you expected to be able to get on your feet, get your first car, your first apartment? You got the person you want to be with now because you met him in college. Y'all want to get that house, credit cards, car. Everything that we tell people to do as a young adult coming out of school, your debt and your credit affects each one. And what's the first thing on most people's credit report? Your student loans.
Yeah,
I think that's probably one of the first things is your student loan. Kind of bring me back to a story when I was in college, and when I actually dropped out of college, I ain't know nothing about student loan debt. I ain't even know that they was going to even put it on my credit report. And I found out once I went to go apply for something, and they're like, oh, well, you're not applicable because you have this negative report that you haven't paid on, which is student loan debt. I'm just like, student loan what? So I think a lot of times, like, we are so uneducated with how the debt system even works, because a lot of young adults in America right now today don't even know the effect, the weight that student loan debt has over your life. And I really want to kind of pivot back real quick before we get there. And I want to talk about your experiences, because you have a very diverse background. You dropped out of high school, you went to the Marines, you worked all different type of jobs. Here's my question. With those different experiences, how has that helped you to where you are today?
Oh, okay. So, everything I've been through helped me. Okay, so the corporate experience, yes, I have a background in finance and I have a background in advertising and marketing. Those are the bases of my platform. I built it as a fintech, ad tech hybrid. That's the business side. But because you guys ask real questions and deserve real answers, going through a lot of adversity helped me be a founder that doesn't give up, because we don't fold when things get hard. Oh, yeah, I might stress out, but we figure out a way. And that's ingrained in us, because the more stuff you go through, case in point, somebody asked me early in my entrepreneurial career, there's all these books they tell you to read. You know, 0 to 1, Lean Startup, all the rest of these books. And no offense to those books, those are fantastic books. However, somebody asked me, did you read this particular book on Lean Startup? No. Well, you know, as a founder, you should. No, okay. Well, why not? Because I've been homeless. I know how to make $50 last an entire week and eat every day. Anybody who's been homeless or been through adversity where you had to make a choice between the light bill, the gas bill, gas in your car, and food, and you knew how to move things around and make something stretch, you can't tell any of us anything about being lean. Now, I can learn how to apply that to a business, but you cannot tell me that I don't understand running lean until I read this book. See, how to get your first customers. Really? You gonna tell somebody who used to be in the streets how to get their first customers? Really? Okay. No. I don't 0 to 1, dusk to dawn. That's how I know how to get my customers. People can take it however they want to, but here's the thing. Once I learned that everything I've been through and every piece of adversity and every job and non-job that I've ever had, it gave me the skill set for every aspect. And that's what I usually, when I go around, I'm talking to youth groups, I'm talking to at-risk youth, and I'm doing all the rest of it. That's even grown entrepreneurs. I'm telling them, look, quit hiding that part of your struggle, because that's what's going to make you. See, because if you've been through that, when it comes to a hard time, like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make payroll. Okay, you ever been broke? Yeah. All right, how'd you make it work? I put a little bit on this, a little bit on this. Okay, so now you know how to do that. So now maybe you talk to your people and say, I got to give you a little bit on this and a little bit on this. Maybe you work out an extension plan. But we're wired differently because we don't go through the same things. Case in point, if you look at a lot of startup stories, oh, well, I started with a small $1 million loan from my family. Okay, cool. I maxed out all my credit cards. Word, you had those? That was nice.
Oh, you was able to get credit cards? Oh, okay.
Man,
how did you do that?
In your 20s, you got credit cards.
I'm gonna have a light bill in my name. Look.
Right. I mean, seriously. And most we won't even get to the point that a lot of people got lights and gas in their name and they're not even out of high school.
You know what I'm
saying? So,
yeah.
You know, but then also it's like, okay, well, I took out a second mortgage on my home. You had a first mortgage? Wait, you got a house?
You got a house? You had credit?
Tell me what that's like. You know, so our stories aren't the same, but what I've noticed is when you start to embrace the stuff that you've gone through and you take the lessons out of it and you realize you were built for this because you've already been through it. There's really no difference on any aspect of starting a company, growing a company, or running a company that's different than the stuff that's out here in the everyday streets. Same hustle, different product. You know, some people get it, some people don't.
Hold on, we can't just harp over that. Can you briefly explain that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Okay, so the same hustle that you put into starting a tech company, starting a restaurant, starting a content company, content creation company, is the same hustle that as you drive through neighborhoods, you see them corner boys and them D-boys having. If you're on your way to the office at 6 a.m. and you see my man on the corner waiting to serve people, and when you drive home, he's on that corner waiting to serve people, your hustle is not different. You just have different products. But apply that same hustle. If you took that same gentleman and said, hey, look, let me tell you exactly how everything you're doing applies to corporate America and startups. Okay, you have to worry about things getting from one place to one place, right? Word. All right, that's logistics. UPS, FedEx, and all the rest of them are built on that. Okay, so you have to worry about the stuff you're moving having good quality because your name is on it, right? Yeah. That's branding. People make millions and billions of dollars on Madison Avenue to do that. Okay, so then you have to worry about who has what so you know what to charge and everything else, right? Yeah, that's called market research. Once again, companies make millions and billions to do that. And then if I gave you this and I gave you that and I told you what I need off of both of those, could you tell me what you need to do? Well, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Now you're using a complex accounting and financial forecasting in your head with two different measuring systems, imperial and metric, and you're doing this at 15, 16. But nobody's telling them that.
Wow.
You're doing things in your head every day, sun up to sundown, for a pair of Jordans on the weekend with the risk of going to jail or dying when people, and you're more hands-on with practical knowledge of things that people are going to business school to get an MBA to learn how to do.
Same thing, yeah.
And so therefore, yes, same hustle, different product.
Now that's really deep because you talk about a lot of experiences when you are doing certain things of hustling or you're getting up at 6 a.m. and you're in business now getting up at 6 a.m. It's the same concept. Here's my other question for you. I want to talk about business sense. And let's really dissect that. Business sense. Can you go to school and get business sense, or does business sense kind of come from your experiences like you just harped on?
Oh, I had to stop myself from laughing out loud. Let me answer it in this manner. 50 Cent.
Okay.
It's a great businessman.
Okay.
But he had business sense in the beginning when he was hustling his CDs out the trunks of cars.
Mm.
DMX, same thing. Business sense was always there. Sean Carter, business sense was always there. They become better business people with education. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Dave Wozniak, all these other people. Okay. Famous Amos. Okay. For better or worse, all of them had business sense to begin with.
Right.
And the interesting thing is a lot of those people I just mentioned didn't finish college. Some of them didn't even finish high school.
Wow.
Business sense you're born with. Business sense you can learn growing up. Guess what? Business sense is installed when you decided that, you know what? I'm hustling these candy sales while I'm in 6th grade trying to raise money for the fundraiser. Who raised the most? The person who was hustling because they had good business sense. The lemonade stands. That's great business sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the things you can tell who has good business sense. Remember, okay, so before Girl Scouts started having stations outside of all the supermarkets and stuff,
Well,
it was about who could hustle the Girl Scout cookies up. So guess what? They had their mom, their dad taking the Girl Scout thing to the office, having people sign up for cookies.
Yep.
And then that was cool. But see, that's the parents' business sense. But you could tell who the kids were with business sense because they were the ones who catch you at church on Sunday. Miss Johnson, can you go ahead and oh, okay. And then that first kid had that stand on the corner or maybe in front of their house where they only set up from the hours of 4 to 6 because that's when everybody's coming home and you're a little bit hungry.
After work, right.
Yeah.
Now, see, those are the people who had good business sense. The one who was selling snow cones or freeze cups for 25 cents out their freezer in the hood back in the summer.
Right.
Selling candy in school.
Right.
Yeah, those are the kids. So business sense, you have it. Now, the knowledge on how to operate it properly, oh yeah, you can go to school for that. Or you can learn. See, you notice I said those two things differently, right? You can go to school for that, or you can learn it.
Right.
Those two are not necessarily connected. Because I know plenty of people who came out of 4-year, 6 years, and in some cases, 8 to 10 years of higher education, don't have the sense that God gave a chipmunk. But they can recite and regurgitate everything that was in those books. But practical everyday knowledge, they completely lost in the sauce. And then I know people who are completely brilliant that said, hey, and I'm not going to use the term dropout because we tend to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who walked away from certain pieces of education and certain levels of education because they were like, I see something different that I can do. See, you can't say drop out in some cases because you just chose to leave because you had something else to do.
Right.
You didn't drop off the face of the earth. You didn't like you fell through a hole in the floor.
Right.
You just walked away.
Yeah.
And most of those times when you walk away, because you had something else to do. Help the family run a business. Help take care of somebody in the family. Start your own business. See, here's the thing. We praise people who leave college and do all these great things. Like I was saying, like the Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerbergs. Yeah, they're dropouts. No, they didn't drop out. They walked away to go do something else.
Right.
Yes, right.
So let's give ourselves the same credit too. Words have power. So yeah, I mean, you got people who've gone through all kind of stuff and turned around and had great careers. You have, case in point, it's not even about it. So you want to look at business sense. And I'm going to go over to content creation. I'm going to have to pull out some actors. Danny Trejo from Machete.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was in prison before he became an actor.
Oh, wow.
Charles Dutton, Rock.
Yeah.
Prison before he became an actor. Tim Allen, drug charges, in prison before he became an actor. Harrison Ford was a carpenter before he became an actor. At like 40.
Wow.
No, school can help you. It can help with the knowledge of how to do something, but business sense is in you. That's why I use examples like 50 Cent, DMX. Look at all the rappers SoundCloud rappers, hustling in music. 50 Cent, DMX, all the people who sold CDs back in the day when CDs were a thing, out their trunk. DMX guested on so many people's stuff that the buzz in the street was hyped about him before he even dropped his first album. And then what happens? You look at his lyrics. Went platinum 2 times in 1 year. Act like y'all don't remember.
And I want to kind of give context even more to my listeners. You have to understand that a lot of things are universal. A lot of things that you think you do on an average, or you think you do just because, oh, it's what I always done, that's universal. Here's my point. When a lot of people think about marketing, these big marketing companies and how they market, they market through, well, they first started marketing through a lot of newsletters before even social media became a thing, radio stations, broadcasts. That's the same thing when you think about you posting online today and talking about, hey guys, you should go try this. Well, you might be unintentionally marketing for a company, but that's marketing, and a lot of stuff is universal. So really utilizing what you have today and understand it's no different than what these other corporate companies are doing. It's just universal. So you got to be able to identify that and use that to your advantage. You know what I mean?
And like you said, man, that hustle mentality, I think that's instilled in you, and just the things that you experience in your life, it builds that hustle mentality to go and do other things, to not necessarily be motivated. Because I feel like sometimes, school and college can be motivation in the sense of to get what you want down the line, but being inspired to do it means you won't give up. Like you said, where we came from, it's a lot of things we can't go back to. You know what I'm saying? We have no other option but to progress forward. You know what I'm saying? So that just inspired me when you said that, man. Just like we ain't got no other option but to win.
It's interesting because you said something that I agree with, but I also want to just add something too. That going to school, college, and out being in the workforce can be motivating. Mm-hmm. But usually if you look at the people who succeed in those things, being in the institution or getting that job at that FANG business, right, or that Fortune 500 company, that's not the motivation. The desire to achieve something is the motivation that makes them sit there.
The journey in that company.
Right. So you sit there at that company for 5 years because you're like, man, I'm just trying to live where I can because I want to start my own thing. It's never, I made it into Stanford. Mm-hmm. And you being in Stanford is the motivation for you to do all 4 years. Well, I take it back because some people do, but then those be those super duper seniors. You'd be like, bro, you've been here, like you're going to get every degree just to stay in school, right? But other people are like, now I'm here, but I have something in goal. This is just a transition. This is a pass through to help accelerate my thing there. Mm-hmm. You can always tell those people. Mm. And then, so the same way right now, if you got 5 people in a room that all came from the same school and they all got the same degree, you can tell the people who have business sense versus people who just learn something.
Oh, yeah. It's a difference too.
Yeah, you can tell, especially when they leave that room and they carry their regular life on. Like, you be like, yeah, you're super smart, but you ain't got no street smarts.
Sometimes common sense ain't coming.
Man, my grandma used to say that all the time. They ain't never lied about that. They ain't never lied.
And that's so interesting. Why do you think most, and let's talk about these young adults. Why do you think most young adults don't have certain senses when it comes to their future? Point in case, we go to school and get in college debt. We take out all these loans, and half the time, honestly, I didn't even know that I was taking out these many loans to go to school to get education. Call it what you want, but my family wasn't as educated to even know what we were doing. We were just taking out loans for the dorms, loans for this, loans for that, loans to eat. It's like we taking out so much loans just to get an education. And once it's time to go into the real world, quote unquote, the real world where you actually have a job, you might have a family and you want things, a house, a car. Right. You realize like, oh my God, I have all this debt on me and I don't even know where it came from. Mm-hmm. Why don't a lot of young adults realize the financial impact that student loan debt have?
Okay. Once again, here's a real answer. And this is just from my viewpoint. So I'm going to do the whole thoughts and viewpoints of Demetrius. Or here's a
narrated by
not
Demetrius.
Necessarily reflect. Right. However, why should you worry about tomorrow when you think that you might not be here for it? See, you got to look at, it's not just student loan debt. And see, as you were saying it, it's not this, that. Okay, so student loan debt, I had the same thing. I had debt with no degree because I walked away from college too. I didn't look at the interest rates. I didn't think about anything else because I just wanted to go to school. How many times, and it's not just that. So you take student loan debt, you put it to the side. How many people go ahead and buy cars and don't understand their interest rate? Compound interest versus regular. And so you're wondering why you're paying $35,000 for a car over 30 years. Stupid stuff. because we're not reading the fine print.
Mm.
But it's also understandable. Look at also, now take that, and on top of that, because this is going to get back to your answer, on top of that, take the rise in buy now, pay later. Instant, immediate gratification. See, but we choose to listen to what we want to, and I always use, I'm a good one for using rap lyrics, metaphors, analogies, movie lines. To quote Jay-Z, if you can't buy it twice right now, you don't need to buy it. We don't look at it like that. We want this right now.
Right.
You got everything right now. Who reads the fine print? It took people years to even realize that they had signed up like, oh, I'm posting all these pictures on all these platforms. Wait a minute, they don't belong to me? Did you read the TOS? No, who does? You get a cell phone contract. Nobody reads it. So why is it? Partly because the aspect of looking at longevity has been decimated. You don't have that anymore in anything. Back in the day, you could say, okay, go to this company, work for XYZ copier company for 20 years, you get a gold watch, retirement pension, and everything is cool. Go work for, Ford Auto Group and this and that, General Motors. Work in the factories for 20 years, you get a gold watch. People had great pensions. They were able to buy houses in retirement. Gone. When you got so many people dying in the streets in their 20s and 30s and teenage years, why should you care about your future when where you are and where you're coming from, get it while you can, is that mentality. Even if people don't admit it and they don't want to acknowledge it, it's not about later. Look at the disparity in stock portfolios, CDs. Look at the kind they have. Most people who even have one have ones that they're able to touch within 2 to 5 years?
Yeah.
Try to convince somebody to go ahead and put something in a 20-year plan.
Ain't happening for most people.
Because
instant gratification.
You can't do it.
There's no instant gratification.
There's not. And so looking long term, that's over the horizon. So that's why that whole thing with student loan debt, all the debt in general, the rise in buy now, pay laters, that's why. Because everybody wants it now because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Next week isn't guaranteed. Technically, we need to change that narrative and that understanding. But first, it's going to take an entire shift in perception and some change in the way that communities treat each other.
And that's what I really love about what you're doing. And I call it your mission because, yes, you are the CEO of College Cash, which we're going to get more into here in a minute. But what I really appreciate is that, for one, you never said, to my knowledge in a way, that debt is bad, but it's how you utilize it and what you do with it. Because me personally, some debts are very good. If you give me $1 million and you tell me, hey, you're going to have to pay 15%, 20% interest back, to me, that's not a negative because you gave me $1 million. So now I'm able to go utilize, keyword, utilize this to my benefit. Now I'm able to create a cash flow around this. So when you say, oh, give me 20% back on this $1 million, cool. Right. The cash flow is going to pay for it. So I'm going to get everything that you gave me. And now I'm going to let that duplicate over time and I'm going to pay you back through the cash flows. And your mission is so powerful because you give young adults and anybody with college debt the opportunity to pay on that before they even get in debt. That is powerful. Tell me from your own experience why this is important for anyone to be able to be a part of College Cash.
So, and I appreciate what you said. You have to understand why I built it the way I built it, though. Because I did something that nobody would recommend if you went through business school or everything else. Build a product for people with no money, don't charge them, and don't make them the product.
Wow.
So why would you do this again? Cool. Because there was nothing built for people with no money. See, if you look at it, everybody wants to build something for people who can pay them and this and that. Great, but people don't have to be the source of that income all the time. And if you look at everyday behavior, I looked at it from the lowest common denominator of how I can help the most people. And if you think about this, you could go from the most affluent neighborhood down to the most economically disadvantaged neighborhood. But people still have a cell phone. They still have social media.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's the escape from the life they're living right now in some form or fashion. They're posting content every day because, for better or worse, that alleviates them having to worry about where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got people who are underemployed, unemployed on every assistance program there is, but their kids still have a game system. Why? Because as parents, you want your kids to have something to take away from the fact of where you are right now while you try to better your life. That's why you give them that cell phone. That's why they're on IG. That's why they're on Twitter. That's why they're on TikTok. Why? Because that's easy access. That's their entertainment. So if it can be used for all these bad things that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to use that in a positive manner. So if I'm not going to charge you, how can I figure out how to let you use that behavior to help you? So that's why I said start with posting content, simple pictures. Hey, and for the brands, look, so here's where it gets funny because people focus on people paying them so much they forget who they're supposed to be helping. So I looked at the age group of 13 to 24. See, this is my background in marketing and advertising comes in handy for the good.
Right.
Now, 13 to 24 covers high school and college. That's also the most coveted demographic for engagement by every consumer brand on the planet. They spend billions, and I'm talking about like 8 to 9 figure billions to directly engage and market to that age group. Think about right now, any consumer product company you can think of in any vertical. Beats Headphones, who do they market to? 13 to 24. McDonald's, 13 to 24. Nike, 13 to 24. Dallas Mavericks, 13 to 24.
That's crazy.
Citibank, 13 to 24. Wells Fargo, 13 to 24. Nike, 13 to 24. Because that's the age that you actually develop mind share for that brand. Those are the ages when you start to really love and support a brand through the rest of your life.
Wow.
It makes a lot of sense because, man, my son is starting to get into shoes now. He's like, love Jordans now. He's like, Jordans. And I'm like, I know you always like the shoes, but now he's like, he is 13, matter of fact. And it's like, hey, Dad, I like these Jordans over these Adidas or these New Balances. I'm like, okay, when did you start getting into Jordans? You ain't even watch Michael Jordan play basketball. Yeah. Where are you getting this mind from? So that makes a lot of sense that you said that. Yeah. Perfect.
I mean, and you look at it from that standpoint, you go, okay, if you're doing all this for brands and organizations, sports teams, consumer product companies, organizations, you want that brand awareness and user engagement with that exact demographic, then damn it, I'm going to give you a way to do it, but in a way that they're going to benefit first. Yes. The users. So when users post images for brand campaigns in my platform, they earn money when their image is selected for these campaigns. I'd love to say that every image is selected, but that's not the way life works. But a vast majority of them are. I mean, like, for example, if somebody says right now a brand runs a campaign saying post your favorite image of coffee mug and you submit an image of a waffle, well, I don't know what to tell you. You didn't read this fundamental. Yeah. And this is not one of those things where everybody gets a participation trophy. We don't do that. That's not life. Follow the instructions and you increase your chances. But when you earn the money, it stacks and accumulates over the course of all of your high school, all of your college to offset that future student loan debt you're going to get. And the best part is it doesn't interfere with financial aid. Wow. Because it's almost like a consumer-based 529 program. So, because you can't access the funds until your repayment period starts. Be it whether you graduate or if you just walk away from school because life happens. It doesn't have to be a 4-year institution. If you decide to go to HVAC school, do you take out a loan for that? Yep, we can do it. Truck driving school, student loan? Yeah, we got you. Pilot school? We got you. And I did it that way because meet people where they are. I knew the user groups I wanted to help, the demographics I wanted to help. And everybody, I've had some people make the mistake of going, oh, well, you built this as a platform for Black folks. Y'all think we the only ones that's broke and don't got no money? And I use that because that's the mentality we have. We went back to the whole broke thing. But are we the only ones that don't have enough money? No, because I can go back to Chicago and go to some of the schools in some of the bad neighborhoods, and we ain't the only ones in those schools. Yeah.
No, I agree.
So when I say I built it to help a whole user group, I'm talking about economics, middle income on down. That's everybody. Everybody invited to that cookout because we all got the same problem.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't believe that there are 3 tiers of social class. I just think it's 2. You're either rich, and even the middle class, and this is my opinion, even the middle class and I don't know what's below, what you consider like the poor class, that's all the same now. Middle and poor is all the same. It's only 2 classes in my opinion.
Man, they became like one hybrid class.
Yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
thing is, it happened so smoothly that people didn't even realize it.
Oh my God, snuck up on them.
It did, because they're like, oh man, I'm middle income. Okay, tell me how you define that. What do you have that makes you middle income? Well, combined, we make about $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's cool. That was middle income like the 80s and 90s. Do me a favor. Take that middle income. I want you to move to New York. What? No. Go ahead. Okay, you know what? Better yet, move to Atlanta. Wait, what? Move to Chicago. Move to Miami. Move to LA. Move to the Bay Area. Tell me how that works out for you. Do you really feel your middle income? But so many people get tricked into thinking they are because of where they are right now. Because that same $150,000 in Ohio, you balling.
Yeah.
In some parts of Illinois, not Chicago, you balling. But $150,000 in the Bay Area, you living in your car.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Wow.
So I completely agree that there aren't 2 classes. And it's funny because the other ability that my platform has is it doesn't care what level you're on. We can help all of you.
That's what I appreciate.
I didn't want to charge them. I didn't want to charge my users. I don't take any of their money. What you earn is what you earn. I mean, we're different from other platforms like that because once again, goes back to business sense. Understand your competitors' weaknesses and be able to get around them. What do I look like telling you that, hey, I'm going to let you earn this money in my platform and then I'm going to take a piece of it every month? What? How you hurt the same people you're trying to help? So there's certain reasons that I did things. And once again, going back to avoid, they're contradictory to what some businesses would tell you if, I went through business school. I've turned down investment checks because I didn't want to charge my users not even 99 cents for the app. That's a hill I'll die on because why would I want to charge the same people I'm trying to help?
Yeah.
Because then am I being helpful? Am I being predatory? If I say, okay, you earn this money by posting content, but I'm going to take a piece of it every month. Am I helping you or am I pimping you?
Pimping, definitely.
Pimping, sure.
Did I make you the product? So basically, that was my issue. I don't do any of that because why should I, really, businesses and brands pay me. I got that from them. I don't need yours. That's not why you're here. It's to figure out a way to help get you out of debt. So there's so many companies that ride off the efforts of their users, either by selling your data, which we don't do, sharing your data, which we don't do, making you the product, which we don't do.
Right. Because
it's not designed to help. But then again, you got a lot of these companies that weren't built by people who went through the situations they're trying to help people with.
That's the difference.
And that's the difference. And that's why I like what you did. Now, I like how you're a visionary when it came to that aspect to say, I'm going to build this for people, whether it's my people or people in the same area. Because you were once one of those college students that, man, I don't think mama had a trust fund or anything for me to go to college. So how am I really going to pay for it? I'm really just going to take on all this responsibility.
Trust fund? You mean trust that I ain't have no trust? You could trust that I ain't have no. No. I mean, you can't build something for people if you don't understand it. Once again, you movie lines and quotes. Head of state, Chris Rock. How you gonna have a war on drugs if you ain't never got high? How you gonna try to help decrease poverty? You ain't never been broke. But you got all these people building these things who don't understand. You can't come to us and tell us how you gonna help us if you don't understand. It's not even about skin color. You can't tell me how you gonna lower poverty and economic disparity, increase and decrease financial inequality, and you don't know anything about any of those besides what you read or what you observed driving through the neighborhood as you went to your house.
Man, and it's so mind-boggling, but this just stuck out of my head. You have to be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. And the reason why I say that is because when you think about these companies that quote unquote try to help, two things can be true at the same thing. Two things can be true at the exact same time. Yes, you can help, but you also can hurt. What most companies do, yeah, they'll help you get a little something here and there, but on the back end, they're going to take money from you to enrich themselves or to make a profit off you. So you have to be aware of wolves in sheep clothing, because there's a such thing as predatory practices, or am I saying it right? Where companies, they actually prey on people not knowing certain things, and they disguise it to make it seem like it's helping or something is to your betterment, but it's really to your detriment. So I really appreciate what you're building and what you have built, because this right here is something that they call in the tech world a unicorn. And I learned that from you, because not a lot of people are doing it the way you're doing it. Yeah, and my question is, why aren't more companies trying to do it in a way where the consumer are benefiting first, more so than the companies just trying to fatten their pockets?
Because that's what it's for.
So 2 things on that. So I'm gonna come back to that unicorn thing. I got to, because you already know how I feel about that. All right, there are companies. There are really good companies that are putting their users and their patrons and their customers first. I mean, especially there's some really good ones, even by us in our community. I mean, and the good thing is, some of them people don't even realize, like Calendly. We all use Calendly to schedule our meetings. That was a brother that started that.
They know that.
Brother founded that company. I mean, there's so many other ones. There's a company called Pigeonly. It to help people who are incarcerated be able to more effectively and in a cheaper manner be able to make those phone calls home, send those letters home, those stamps. That was started by brother Fred, who actually did time.
Wow.
So there's plenty of us out there. The problem is we don't get a lot of shine because it's not sexy enough. It's not sexy enough. It's not the Internet of Things for this. It's not the Uber for this. It's not the Airbnb for this.
Right?
It's not, because going back to what you said, it's not a unicorn. It's a lifestyle business. So in case people don't understand who are watching your podcast, and I hope they do, and if not, you're going to be today years old when you learn this. A unicorn in tech is a company that can have the valuation of $1 billion plus. People get caught up on that. Because anything other than that, they say, oh, well, it's a lifestyle business. Or it's a niche business. You know what they used to tell a lot of black female tech entrepreneurs who were going, and even non-tech entrepreneurs who were going into hair care products? And we all know there's been some very big black hair care.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they were like, oh, that's a niche product. Why? Because it's a black thing? Do you know how many of us there are? There's a lot. So when they actually reach almost billionaire status, and the reason you don't hear about more of us is because we get bought out before we get that status. So we don't get to claim that title that much. But that stops a lot of businesses from being funded. Remember, I told you earlier, I go back to that stat about why it's not more black CEOs.
Yeah.
So if you look at all of the investment funding, I want you to think of everything that got funded. And some of your viewers they'll pull up the numbers. All the investment money that was given to all the tech startups and stuff, traditionally, and I'm going to say underserved, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of people in this category because this is important. Underserved, Black, Latino, women, not just Black women, Black, Latino, LGBTQ+, Asian, okay, just the traditionally underserved. I want you to just take a guess. Tell me what percentage of total funding we average at least every year for the past 5 years. Out of 100%, what percentage do you think that all those groups together get? Just take a wild guess.
I'm gonna say about 20? What, 10%?
I said 20.
That's funny. It's not above 3.
Oh wow!
Combined.
Wait, hold on. You telling me out of women, Black women, Hispanics, and all these other minorities put together, not separately,
right?
I'm
saying combined.
It is not over 3% of the funding that these people give out, or
underserved founders as a whole usually only average between 2.5% to 3% of total funding every year.
Oh my God. Every year?
You can pull the stats. I'm sure some of your watchers and listeners.
Oh
will.
my God.
I wish it was different. So when you ask how come there's not more of us, there are, but we don't get the spotlight. So when you see, and this is why sometimes I always say support Black when you can, support Latino when you can, support your own. It doesn't even matter who you support. Just support somebody that's starting something. So we are. Like when you have that food truck that your cousin might have, support that. Because technically they're a CEO. That restaurant, that boutique, that dress store, we don't get that shine, even in tech. Definitely in tech. Because the way you look, both of y'all on your faces when I told you that number, that's the reality we live with every day. So even when we're out here raising money for companies that have the ability to be a unicorn, we don't get the same shine as more pattern matched, traditional founders that get
keyword the majority in this.
It's pattern matching.
Yeah.
You know what? Just take a look at most of the startups who get funding, and yes, we're going to delve into that, and I don't care because it goes back to my mentality. If you don't like what I'm saying, okay, unless you're from Asgard, Wakanda, or Atlanta, we can run it because I got hands. Yeah. One thing I don't have a lack of is, Kool-Aid in my tank. We can do this. We can do this. I mean, so people are scared to say what they need to. The reality of it is because I've lived this, I can talk on this.
Sure.
We don't get the same amount of funding, but when you get to a certain point, then everybody want to go ahead and be like, I'm saying, like Mike Jones, back then you didn't want me, now you all upon me. And that goes for the same thing for investors. But most of the time, our companies that could be unicorns, we get bought out and acquired, or we get starved out. Because somebody who's more pattern match came out with an idea and happened to have a few more connections, and they get more funding. Yeah. See, you might have been able to go ahead and do what you did for $250,000 over 2 years, and somebody else goes, man, that's a really good idea. I happen to know some people. My family got a little bit of money, so I'm gonna start right now today with $1 million in funding. And I know somebody that went to Stanford. They used to work at Google too. So guess what? We're gonna start the same thing.
Yeah.
And we got more money, so now we can do better than you and step over you.
So there's been an uproar here in social media here lately. The hair product company, Miel, the founders, Monique and Melvin, have been under fire by a lot of people in our community because they're mad or pissed, however you want to say it, because they sold their company to P&G, Procter & Gamble. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying right now, from my understanding, that, so they trying to throw around this narrative of, that's what's wrong with our community. You always sell out and keep it for the people. And I'm just kind of give my synopsis on this. I just really believe that a lot of people don't understand business and they don't understand mission. A lot of times there's nothing wrong with selling out, in my opinion, if it goes towards your mission. Now, let's not be ignorant and let's understand, like we got the knowledge to understand that we might not have all the connections as a community. In my viewpoint of the whole situation, I believe if your mission is to go worldwide, to be in other places that you might not can reach on your own, and if it's feasible for you to be able to let someone come and buy you out or invest or whatever the case may be, I don't think it's a bad thing as long as it meets and fits your mission. Now, Demetrius, I know that you are very passionate about this topic, so I kind of want to get your thoughts on this.
I did get that disclaimer earlier about the thoughts and opinions reflected by me are only mine and mine alone, right? Because some people might be pissed about what I'm about to say. Get over that shit. I mean, I hate to say it. Damn, can't you be happy that somebody built something that you supported that got bought out by a major multinational corporation? Let's get here for a second, because, see, that pisses me off. Because at one hand, you're like, oh, well, you know what? Should have stayed in the community. Okay, everybody say that till it's them. Because if it was your butt that had a company that wanted to be bought, say you developed a better shoelace tying system and Nike wanted to buy it. Oh, you're not going to sell it? Oh, everybody got something to say when it's not them. But understand that what they did is they just created more black millionaires.
That's a fact.
Okay, so that goes back to the whole, okay, so did you want them to turn down this money and you worried about the quality of the product? Oh, it's going to change. Can you see the future? I mean, products and companies get bought all the time and acquired, and people don't even realize it. People were smacking on famous Amos cookies, not realizing Amos ain't had nothing to do with that after a while. Oh, okay. You do that on so many things. Why is it just us? You can't celebrate that there were more black millionaires created. Continue to support the product. Or if you don't want to, then don't. But guess what? Turn your attention to the next black-owned product. Help create more black millionaires. And then I'll be quite honest with you. There's some people that are complaining they didn't even use the product.
That's a fact.
So
That's real.
if you didn't use the product, then you didn't help make them money. I mean,
You have no say so either way.
But people love to jump on bandwagons, and I get it as a business owner. Yes, if my company was ever acquired, would that be a concern for people? Like, oh, it's no longer black owned. Yeah,
They ain't gonna call you a sellout. That's
But here's the
just
thing. But no,
let's
I'm
be
not a
honest.
sellout. I was acquired.
Right.
There's a difference, and if you learn the difference in terminology, then it, once again, words have power. Do not say that husband and wife sold out. Their company was successfully acquired. And here's something most people don't understand. Usually in acquisition kind of situations like that, as founders, you have the ability to make sure some things are left the same.
Right.
So you can stipulate, and here's the thing, nobody was in the room when they did that deal. So everybody's speculating from outside, thinking about what could happen, what could have happened, what should have happened. Why can't y'all just be happy? I mean, like, at a certain point, we look at people in business a certain way. And I have to use this example. Nobody called 50 Cent a sellout when he did the vitamin water deal.
Right.
Nobody called Ice-T a sellout when he started being on Law and Order. Nobody's called Will Smith a sellout when he went from rapping about Miami in summertime to being on The Fresh Prince and then doing movies. Because it was called a natural progression. We love to see it for our people when it benefits us.
A lot of black people in our community, and this is one thing that Sierra says a lot, they want you to be the martyr. They want you to stand up, and for lack of a better term, they want you to be the one on the cross while they say, hey, that brother, that sister was the one to sacrifice for us, while you are doing nothing, while you have only your opinions, but you don't have any action behind anything. And I want to kind of talk about what goes into the logistics of even running a company. And I'm not saying that this was their situation, but a lot of people don't understand, like, when you're running a business from day to day, the logistics, a lot of times you gotta understand, like, yes, I'm making millions, but I'm also spending millions. I also might not have as many connections. So as I want my product to be in certain places, I might not have the bandwidth. So sometimes you have to do things that's going to complete your mission. And I'm all about mission based.
No, you know, it's funny you say that. You need connections to get distribution. And it's interesting because, once again, let's look at the disparity in what okay, so yes, Miel got acquired by Procter & Gamble. That means their product can probably be in more places than they ever would.
Worldwide.
And they can never take away the fact that her and her husband founded it.
Right.
Okay, be happy for them, because they may go on to do more things. They may go on to be angel investors and help other companies start. They may put money back in community. But if you don't know what they're about to do, then keep your mouth shut.
Right.
But here's the thing. But nobody says things when people strike deals to, oh, my product is in Amazon. My product's in Walmart.
Perfect analogy. Yep.
Oh, really? Patty's Pies is in Walmart. We happy for it because now everybody can go get it. The dolls that are specifically designed for young black girls went from being something you had to order on their own website to now they were available in Walmart. They were available on Amazon. Everybody's happy. Oh, they got a distribution deal. Okay, let's put one more vertical going over to the entertainment industry.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, man, you know what? I'm so happy. He was able to stop hustling and selling them CDs on this because he got a distribution deal. Well, I mean, come on, man. Let's just keep it a buck across the board. If we can be happy for people in that aspect, be happy across the board. They didn't change anything. You don't even know if the hair products are going to change formula. Most of the time, that's written in and it won't. Be happy. Give them, instead of being upset about they sold out or got acquired, support them. Tell them how happy you are that one of the few businesses started by black people that can get acquired by a multinational corporation. It did it. Then maybe push them to invest back in other black startups.
Right.
You don't ostracize them and beat them down for achieving success, because that's the same success everybody else will kill for. Anybody said they wouldn't, they on. It's all cap.
Right.
They got more caps than New Era. If they say that, if they say that, it's for real. Because everybody will want that. Anybody in their family who has somebody in their family that has a business selling plates, doing designs, doing hair, you want to see them succeed.
That's a fact.
So, what's the difference?
So, and I got a question. I just kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit. Do you think it's the backlash is for like the ownership aspect of it? Because I know if you sell, you no longer have ownership on a large scale. Is it like is it a thing with though like Procter and Gamble owning that company versus, you know, hey, we got something, I don't know, you built this to a certain extent and we support it. Now we got this for us versus, okay, we gave it to them and we don't have anything else. Granted, you got your money, but now they got the ownership.
You see my face, right? You ready for my answer?
Yeah.
Who owns BET? Did we stop watching it?
And what BET stand for?
Black Entertainment Television.
Yes, sir.
Who used to own it? Did we stop watching it when it got bought by Viacom? No. So, the same people, and ironically, most of the same people complaining about Miel are the same ones still watching BET.
Boom.
Because where's Real Housewives show, Love and Hip Hop, and all those shows? The user base and customer base is pretty much the same. And I'm not slamming anybody. I'm saying be aware of the hypocrisy. Don't tear us down when somebody achieves success on a large level. Support them and then maybe guide them and say, hey, this is what you can do. Because you never know what they want to do. And now by you sitting there ostracizing and beating them down, they may turn around and be like, man, screw this. Man. I ain't dealing with our people no more.
Right.
Because and they got every right to.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
for real.
Case in point, like I said, my answer to that was, we still watching BET?
Look.
So, okay. Did we complain when Tyler Perry went from living in his car and doing stage plays, so all of a sudden he got his own studio? And I'm not saying this to disparage anybody. I look at all of those things as success. Right. If we can celebrate success on those levels, celebrate success there. You know, we laugh and joke. Okay, it's not a sellout thing. We laugh and we make it jokes like, oh man, Snoop Dogg from Skinny Kid back when he was 20 with gin and juice. So now he's kicking with Martha Stewart. Okay, some people would say, oh, he sold out. No, he reached a higher level of success.
Right. That's it. Right.
I mean, so we have to be happy at people's level of success, even if it does not necessarily mesh and gel with how I would have done it. It's easy to say, oh man, if it was my company, I wouldn't have sold to Procter & Gamble. Man, quit capping.
Stop it.
Quit capping.
Yeah.
They wait. Man, look here. Procter & Gamble. I ain't got a product yet, but I'm coming out with a men's scheme and hair product. If you want to come acquire me early, man, you ain't got to just give me a couple of million.
I got a content creation platform that's designed to reduce student loan debt years before it starts. Am I better served and able to better serve my community and my people if, say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, some major multinational corporation wants to acquire us? I got money. I got more money to put back in the community. I got more money to go ahead and help other startups that are doing crazy things to help us that don't get the funding. Right. And that's the part that I don't think most people understand, how hard it is to get to that point. Because if you go backwards and look at her and her husband's funding struggle to get funding, to get their product out there, to do everything else, and you go, wait a minute, now they're an opportunity to be able to give back. I mean, Black Wall Street, everybody want to talk about it, but who's going to help create it? Because the same people that's sitting here disparaging those who get success forget that that's how you start things. That's how you continue things. And so it's just a matter of knowledge. I just wish that every level of success was celebrated the way that we do entertainment.
Right.
The way we do sports. Because, there were plenty of people mad when LeBron left the Cavaliers to go get the ring.
Right.
They didn't say he sold out. Some did, but they were just burning jerseys. But then when he came back,
what?
Right, but then look where he goes. In sports, we're used to it.
Yeah.
Tom Brady went from the Patriots to the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Okay, we get mad, but it's expected.
They still go buy them jerseys.
Still gonna watch them though.
Right,
still gonna tune them in.
Right, even in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna get mad? Maybe your favorite player is in the minor leagues, so you get mad when he makes it to the majors.
That's a great point.
When you like Tom Brady, oh man, people mad. Oh, he retired. He got a $376 million contract to be an analyst, a sports analyst. Hold on. So you left the game, but now you got more money to do whatever you need to. See, people ain't upset about that. They're not burning down stuff, calling him a sellout. He announced that he had accomplished what he needed to. Time to go.
Right.
When people retire, we celebrate it.
Yeah.
When people reach another level, we celebrate it. Why not do the same thing in business?
And that's my point. That's why I'm taking the time out now to give you your flowers. And this is something new for the mentality, but I'm gonna ask you 3 questions to start to wrap up the show. Here's my question. Question number 1. When did you come up with the ideal of College Cash? That's 1. 2, where were you when you came up with this ideal of College Cash? And the last and final question, what time? Do you remember the time? And the reason why I'm asking these 3 questions like this, because I want to put in for a lot of people their perspective of moments. So I want you to kind of explain that moment. When, where, in the time frame it was when you came up on the ideal of creating College Cash.
November of 2019. I was in my actual apartment at the time, and it was the afternoon, and the reason for it was I was actually trying to help somebody find a resource for student loan debt that didn't involve money. And
That's
actually, I can tell you, I was sitting. There was a desk in my apartment against the couch, back by the kitchen. I mean, I can tell you everything, but I mean, I can't give you the exact time. But yeah, that's when I thought about it. But before we wrap up, I gotta explain the difference between the unicorn and what I want.
Perfect.
See, that unicorn thing, it's often used, as I tell people, it's used to describe a company.
Well, can you explain what is a unicorn?
Yeah. So a unicorn in tech and startups and everything else is a company that can be valued at $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
For all people watching and stuff, potential unicorn is what we are, not a unicorn. Because don't be asking me for no money thing like that.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, look.
Disclaimer. Like on track to.
Quote unquote.
That's like if somebody's in high school, like on varsity. That boy gonna play in the league one day.
Yeah.
Wait till he gets to the league. Don't ask him for nothing now. But I'm gonna have to use that analogy again. But so unicorn's a company that can be valued at about $1 billion or more.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I heard that, it was cool. Second time, it was cool. And then I realized I didn't want to be a unicorn. And so I told somebody that once, and they were like, And I've seen things come out. Remember, I did this like 2019. I realized I didn't want to be a unicorn. And I'll give there's so many things out there like, dragons and things like this, but they're all built around business models and stuff. Mine is really more down to earth and just my own unique perspective. When you think unicorn, you think cute and cuddly and rainbows and glitter. Right. I want to hug them in the field and even the Minions movie, she had a little unicorn.
Right.
It was a unicorn.
Right.
You want to hug it, you want to cuddle it, you want to just like, it's so pretty. I just want to. Yeah, I don't want to be that. I want to be a dragon. And that's exactly what I told them. They were like, why? I said, since we're talking about mythical creatures, I'm not going to be a unicorn. When you see a unicorn, you think all sweet, pleasant, happy, candy thoughts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You see a dragon and you give it space.
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
You give it respect. A dragon has knowledge. A dragon, you give it wide berth. You give it respect. You give it its space. If it's sleeping, you leave it the hell alone. Why? Because you know if you irritate or piss it off, it's going to wake up and burn everything down around you.
Mm.
Great.
So since we got to be on mythical creatures, And I'm not saying I'm gonna burn everything down. No, I'm saying I want to be that company that has the respect that people know. Yeah, you know what? It's better to work with them than try to work against them. Because I mean, honestly, I don't want to be cuddled. I want to be respected. I don't want somebody to look at me and think glitter and everything else. I want somebody to look at our company and go, they got enough traction. They're growing big enough. Let's not irritate them.
Yeah, let's not stand that
Let's
way.
work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So where does the phrase that you often use, and I think I heard you first say this a month ago or so, I'd rather choose violence. Can you please explain that? And what does that mean? And why do you say that?
Okay, yeah. I had an boy. So I had somebody online in one of social media places. He was an investor. And I had said I choose violence. And he actually thought I meant like real violence. And so I was like, well, yeah, that's a good thing. Let me explain. So for those that don't know, choosing violence is not a literal thing. I choose violence, which means I come for all the smoke. And I do that on behalf of those who feel they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Too many of us are stuck in boxes where we feel if we say the wrong thing, it's going to cost us. Which means we're being kept in line by imaginary boxes and things and perceived losses. Well, I don't want to say this about my company because they may not, they may let me go. If it's messed up, say something.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm out here trying to raise money. I don't want to say something that's going to irritate investors. Here's the thing. If it's something wrong, say something. The people who need to rock with you are still going to rock with you.
They'll find you, yeah.
I choose violence, not just for myself, because I'm not going to do a disservice to everything I went through to get to this goddamn point.
Right.
To hold my tongue. And then I also choose violence and say the things necessary for those who feel that they're still in those boxes and can't.
Advocate.
See, everybody talking about, going with that thing. Yeah, I choose violence. And it goes back to the whole thing about, Wakanda, Asgard, Atlantis. Like, you ain't going to catch me outside and whoop my ass. I mean, so if you do, good on you. Everybody got to take an L in times.
Right.
But my time ain't coming soon.
Right.
So, you're going to have to work for that L. However, we also always told, don't burn bridges. Y'all heard that saying, right?
Yeah. All the time. All my life.
I have a hat saying, may the bridges I burn light the way for others.
Oh, it's deep.
Explain that.
Sometimes you gotta burn a bridge gloriously, where the flames can be seen by all those who are coming behind you to know to avoid that route. So for the right reasons, I will stand on that bridge while I burn it and whistle maniacally so you never underestimate my level of crazy and where I'm willing to do for the people coming behind me. Because if you don't burn that bridge and the bridge sucks, what are you doing if everybody else is coming behind you?
Leading them into damnation.
Wow.
So sometimes you got to burn it, but if you're going to burn it so they can see it on the moon. Because that way everybody's coming behind you in that same path knows, okay, maybe I don't need to go that way. Why? Well, why not? Sometimes things are bigger than you. So that's why I have that hat, because it reminds me sometimes you got to burn a bridge for the greater good. Because too many people don't burn enough bridges, and then we walk right into the same thing. For example, I'll use tech. If I know that an investor or a group of investors has a 0.0000000000001% rate of funding black startups, and I meet with them, I know they're not going to fund me. Should I keep my mouth shut and not say anything just because they're so-and-so and they could not fund me? Well, they weren't funding me in the first damn place. So guess what I'm about to do?
Yeah,
I'm about
real.
to Johnny Blaze.
Yep.
Because everybody behind me, all y'all gonna know. Because if not, y'all gonna walk right into that same trap, walk into that meeting eager.
You get let down.
Right. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't need to be done all the time. Some people choose violence consistently because they have no other setting. That's not good luck either.
It's a balance.
It has to be a balance. You have to pick and choose the battles you fight in order to win a war. You can't be at war every day. You can't be that angry person every day because you're going to exhaust yourself. If you had to fight a battle, that's why, you know what? Even round robin tournaments give some teams a bye because you need to rest.
Right.
They don't do Ironman football anymore because you can't play both sides and consistently because you're gonna wear down.
Exhaust out, yeah.
So you can't be that angry person. You have to pick and choose. And sometimes in the course of doing that, start with the whole, if I choose to burn this bridge and be that angry person and say what I really feel, is somebody really, outside of myself going to be able to benefit from me burning this bridge? If the answer is no, pick it carefully. Will you necessarily feel better if you do this?
Right.
If the answer is, maybe you shouldn't do it. But if the answer, either one of those, is resounding yes, flame on. But make sure it's something bigger than yourself. Starting companies, make it bigger than yourself. Everything you do, make it bigger than yourself, which is why I have the utmost respect for y'all, because the stuff that you guys do, it's bigger than y'all, and you treat it as such. And so I think if we all look at it like that, we can start to be happy for people like the former owners of Miel.
Right.
We can be happy when people achieve some form of getting out of that gravitational pull of bullshit. It's about being something bigger. That's when we'll be able to get back to a Black Wall Street. That's when we'll be able to do that, when we're able to actually see things bigger than us. When we get to that point, we'll have cohesion. Because then we'll have a common thing we're working towards, as opposed to scramble, every man for himself.
Right. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it's just like yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. Everybody goes for the exit that suits them best. Imagine if you was on a plane and they landed and all the doors and the side doors and the emergency exits and the back ramp opened up and they're like, all right, cool, y'all do what y'all need to. People would go through every exit they wanted to, which was based on what the convenience. There would be no cohesion. That's the problem. We need to get cohesion as a unit, a community, however you want to structure it down. From everybody that ain't high income, come on, we all in the same boat. Quit playing like we ain't. Quit looking down on people just because they got a little bit less than you. Because guess what? You got less than somebody else.
That's a fact.
That's facts.
Do you earn over $100,000 a year? You do? No. Are you sure about that? Because last time I checked, there's only like 1% of the population that actually earns over $100,000. So we all ain't in that 1%.
Y'all in the same boat.
So quit fronting like you are. Because until we strip that down, we can't have cohesion. Because we can't acknowledge that we all screwed. That's why I love everything that you guys do. Because it gets people to actually stop and think. Not only how are we screwed as a community, but how can we get out of it and change our mentality?
That's the key.
Both on the literacy side, financial literacy, acting. What does it mean to carry yourself as a man? What does it mean to carry yourself as a business owner, content creator? So once we get that, where everybody can be a damn dragon. You can be a dragon without having to have $1 billion company. You can be a dragon just because you managed to go ahead and sell your first weekend of dinner plates. You made 20, you sold 20. You a dragon, baby. Go ahead. Keep that mentality. Man, I'm going to get a barbershop. Okay, well, you didn't. Did you cut some hairs? Yeah, I had like 5 dudes come through and cut my hair. Guess what? You a barber. Flame on, fam.
So with that being said, to all my listeners right now that's tuning in, this is our dragon year. And not only for 2023, but 2024 and so on. So if you're out there right now and you have an opportunity, take that opportunity. Or if you don't even think you have an opportunity, go find someone to collaborate with and y'all build together and understand that this is your dragon year. And this is the year that we're going to be able to grow and go further than ever before. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely keep that in mind, man. And Demetrius, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming today, man. You gave a lot of game, a lot of knowledge, man. Just your mentality, your mindset when it comes to things, man, is beautiful. And I love that we have the platform for you to spread that message through mentality to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they definitely need that, and they connect with it on so many levels, man. And You know, I never thought about a dragon in that sense, but you know, I'm choosing that today. You know,
I ain't gonna be no unicorn. I want to be a dragon.
I don't want to be no unicorn, man.
I mean, and I appreciate that. And my thing is, you know, if anything else they can take away is use the mistakes, glean the lessons from it, because ain't none of us perfect. And I think that's the other thing. Too many of us try to hold people up on a pedestal just because they ain't done something. No, they got there despite the adversity and because of it, not without it. So you know what? Don't put people on pedestals because we're all human. So when people are able to achieve something, it's like, oh man, yeah. But I remember he used to pick his nose in 3rd grade. All right, so you know, so just that as a whole, I think we can actually get way further.
Right.
And just embrace those lessons and learn from other people's mistakes and other people's, you know, like, damn, they did so and so. Cool, are they still here? Yeah. How about you focus on that, fam, instead of the mistake they made, focus on how they rebounded.
Man, with that being said, man, I just want to tell you again, thank you. And for my viewers and people that want to reach out to you, where can people find out more about your company and reach out to you?
I was like, nah, don't do that. No, actually, no. So the website is www.yourcollegecash, spelled out YOUR. We didn't do short and phonetic. Collegecash.com. There's a contact us section on that goes right to the company email. Our team looks at every email that comes through. Cool. Outside of that, I mean, my IG. Yeah, okay. So my IG is the FinTech Ronin.
Yes, sir.
So once again, no phonetics, just the FinTech Ronin. That's pretty much it. I mean, I tend to interact with people because that's what I do. It's my responsibility to give back. I'm not going to say that whole Spider-Man to whom, you know, great power comes great responsibility. I ain't going to do that. I'm just going to say nobody made it where they are by themselves. So reach back. You know, I ain't going to say each one teach one, all those other cliche things, but remember, ain't nobody get where they are by themselves. So take a moment out your damn day. And even if it's a word of inspiration or a helpful thing, just give back in some aspect. So
that's it right
That's
there.
it,
so
man.
Give back. This is a Mentality Podcast.
This is Austin Carter.
This is Lee.
I'm Demetrius.
Hey, that's how it is. Y'all check in with us. Tell somebody you love them.
All right.
Truth is, can't nobody stop us. Truth is, can't nobody stop us.